straight off the top, I love all of my niggas. That shit ain't gon' stop till we on top and we ballin', my nigga. We be fly as fuck, you know them bitches be stalking my niggas. That shit'll never change and it's the same with all my niggas. City to city, I should be at home, that's what my ribs say. But bitch, I'm grown, I'm in these streets and closed caption. Niggas know we bout that action. If a nigga play with me, then my Hakim gon' let him have it. Hey, thank you the shit, this truth the shit. Nigga play, I let that Ruger hit. Get on them tracks, they be like, who is this? I'm rude with it, ain't got no manners. All them pussy niggas talking shit, yeah, I know they can't stand us, but we UPK Louisiana, bitch, that's what I'm reppin'. And my niggas solid number, real ones in my section. If you wanna get down, put your boots on, start steppin'. Brotherhood is a weapon. Brotherhood is a weapon. Better watch how you steppin', cause brotherhood is a weapon. If I die for my niggas, it'll be an honor and a blessing. Better watch how you steppin', cause brotherhood is a weapon. Brotherhood is a weapon. Better watch how you steppin', cause brotherhood is a weapon. If I die for my niggas, it'll be an honor and a blessing. Better watch how you steppin', cause brotherhood I lay my life down right now for all my sisters and brothers, because I love them, I see them dapping and hug them. It's amazing to see how well we adapt from the struggle. Born again from a life of sin, trapped in the gutter. My mind frame was to kill my own kind. Feeling inferior, waking up ready to die. Run with them killers, so it's just a matter of time. For why take your life or let you take mine? That's when I realized the slaves killing slaves while the white man live to get old. We in them graves, the shit got me feeling played. I opened the Bible, went through them records, found out we was royalty, a nation to be respected. But in this world we rejected, we hated for our complexion. Still fighting to get accepted, we hear the truth and reject it. But love is getting corrected, and all my niggas correct me. The commandments, the foundation we erected. Brotherhood is a weapon. Brotherhood is a weapon. Better watch how you steppin', cause brotherhood is a weapon. If I die for my niggas, it'll be an honor and a blessing. Better watch how you steppin', cause brotherhood is a weapon. Brotherhood is a weapon. Better watch how you steppin', cause brotherhood is a weapon. If I die for my niggas, it'll be an honor and a blessing. Better watch how you steppin', cause brotherhood is a weapon. Hey, hey. Hey, hey.
Pando, kill the beat.
I don't know who, somebody need to hear this. Y'all don't speak Hebrew, that's Yiddish. How the fuck you try to label us anti-Semitic? We the Israelites, blacks, native Hispanics. The Germans getting locked up for the Holocaust. Meanwhile, black people still up in the Holocaust. 100 million of us died in the transatlantic. 6 million died, y'all want the world to never forget it. You can never be a Jew, you a Ashkenaz. This ain't a star dum-dum, a gun that would die. Yeah, Yeezy told the truth and got ostracized. Not one person in the Bible had on a yarmulke. We was slaves in America like we was in Egypt. Y'all don't even fit the curses in the Torah neither. Y'all was blind to the truth, I had to make it clear. How Jerusalem, your land, your people came from Europe. That was 1947, your menorah got 9 sticks, it's really only 7. Yeah, it's us against the world, Armageddon. This what happened when you inherit lies from your ancestors. Y'all the synagogue of Satan with them black hats. Your whole nation sitting ducks, Aflacs. Bunch of thieves and culture vultures, ain't nothing kosher. To tell the truth, you vagabonds don't have a culture. Macedonia, Alexander and Philip, you a convert, so tell me, how the fuck is you Israel? That don't make you the people just cause you live there. Why my people can't hate your people like y'all hate Hitler? All the prophets was black and was called nigga. Y'all don't even fit the description that's in the scriptures. Abraham, all the way down to Jacob, we the real Jews. Y'all don't study Christ, y'all follow the Talmud. Keep it real, yeah, let's keep it real. Cold hard truth, it give you chills. Say y'all Jewish cause y'all ain't really them. About to do them like Hammond, it's the Feast of Purim. UPK undefeated, this an easy win. We was born fighting, y'all the evil twin. Jacob took hold of his heel, then out came his little red bastard, they kosher deals. It's only 12 tribes, y'all tryna make it 13. Esau despised his birthright, the Lord cursed him. He ain't the devil, who is? I'm still searching. Ask your rabbi, why he get them babies herpes? I don't know what's worse, that or you claiming that you a Maccabee. I'm about to cancel, everybody try to cancel ye. I ain't afraid to speak, that's what I do. They riding to the core, I'm just judging them by their fruit. Cause they ain't suffering curses. If I was carnal, I promise I'd punch you in person. I know this an uncomfortable subject. They making millions off our culture and black people suffering from it. Yeah, they don't believe in Christ, they the Antichrist. Make a living off of niggas, they a parasite. I ain't afraid to tell the truth, niggas terrified. I'm about to go DEFCON 4, I ain't satisfied.
That is proof. That is absolute proof that they know we are the real Jews. That's absolute proof. Now, he got the records. Go find me a white Jew on any archaeology in Egypt anywhere. You will never find a piece of archaeology with white people as slaves in Egypt. So don't tell me that they were slaves and it's their identity, and they know it. The Lord knows the blasphemy of you so-called white people that say you are Jews and you are not Jews. You are not the people of the law. You are not God's chosen people. God's chosen people are living in the ghettos of America. God's chosen people are in poverty and depression in the streets of America. God's chosen people are walking around in America with no identity. That's where God's chosen people are.
They killed, give me Isaiah 14 and 21. They did the same thing to my people. So you said that they put millions of my houses. Yes, you said so.
Should a murderer go to jail for murdering?
Absolutely.
Should a thief go to jail when he steals?
Absolutely.
Should a robber pay back the money he robbed?
Absolutely.
So why shouldn't the white man pay for what he did?
That's right. That's right.
One day you'll see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a
I'm in a hell of a hole, was never expected to grow. Just obstacles set in the road, that a result of me selling my soul. The story I'm telling is cold, but yet it's what everyone knows. The white man's the devil is known. America was never a home, only a place of captivity, safe facility, hating disfigure me. They claim that I'm lazy, be killing me. Maybe this slavery draining my energy. 400 years and counting, the trail of my tears is countless. Main fact that I'm here is astounding, but I can't wait till this shit is surrounded. Ready to tangle my king and the angel, be ready to rap. Crack in the sky, nuclear missiles and make it official. I'm capturing every cracker surviving. Put them all in chains where they need to be, slavery for me. And let the whole world see that with them in the cage and safer in the streets. Put the dog on a leash, get resolved for the beast. 144, get the ruler show, we could all be at peace. As soon as the trumpets are sound, your kingdom we busting it down. The only way justice is found, the time for your judgment is now.
you'll see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog.
Look, ain't no remorse in my blood slim. It won't be no compromise. Now it's time to feed the worms. Watch his body turn to flies. I clutch iron while you trust the lies. The next Glock I buy gon' be Gen 5. I get it customized. and sending shots off like farewell. Praying payback come back around like a carousel. Still remember your Honda's words ringing in my head like bells. Said you in this body, you fit the Lord, fuck the cartel. Triangle choke, apply pressure to the game like I did Von Dale. Payback's a bitch in a dress, she a bombshell. Revenge is dish served cold, I just hope they making oxtail. Glock fresh out the box, I swear it got that new car smell. Made myself a target in the world of mass shooters. That was designed fire for our babies to pass through it. And the day of our king's reign, I'll be overzealous. They bought my jealous, I bought brand new parabellums.
Someday you'll see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a
Buck roll.
sharper than an ice pick on you rappers' necks, and it's feeling like some vice grips. Yeah, that's light shit. Send my bro a kite quick. Ties of war, we ain't forget about you. Keep your light lit. Rappers can't see. Most of them scared to witness. Go on, close your eyes. There's one right here for the trenches. Bad bitches, natural hair or extensions. Hood niggas that'll probably grip like some dentures. Brothers on them fences. 23 and 1 out. Praying that that commissary hit before it run out. Bitches on the gram, dog filter with their tongue out. Couldn't stay home because they found the dugout. Closed casket, burner in the low jacket. My co-captain, riding on these whole rappers. My hoes fabulous. Now I don't mean that derogatory, but I'm a player and there's no my women riding for me. I avoided Maury. I got 2 jets. If I can't make it through for them, then I'm useless. Sit down that roof, Chris, with a couple bosses. After the war, just to count our losses. It's not many. You see a smile on my face, but I'm not friendly. Gun on my waist, sipping white Henny. I just hope this shit go right. Living in the dark, you don't know light. Gotta got my heart with my bow tie. Waiting on this war in my whole life. I just hope this shit go right. Living in the dark, you don't know light. Gotta got my heart with my bow tie. Living in this war in my whole life. My whole life. It's so melodic. When I be dropping this ebonics, this ghetto phonics, they got me on the level supersonic. My bomb atomic, and you know where you can find me. Somewhere probably folding this paper origami. My name is pure as the Sani. My wave is like a tsunami. I went from 0 to 100, feeling like Ricky Bobby. I made a deal with the Reaper. Got a couple wives, they some keepers. Talk a lot of shit, but you can't walk a mile in my sneakers. Bitches go to Miami, come home with changed features. Now she got a BBL, her ass fatter. Trying to show up all them niggas that laughed at her. Now when they see her, they only wanna fuck her. They just wanna touch her, they don't wanna cuff her. They just wanna come and kick it with her like a punter. Turned her to a runner, now it's all aboard the train. Fenty on her face, but it's not concealing the pain, it's a shame. So I'm in the hood like some rap snacks. I know niggas kill you and your mama for a scat pack. Dark tech, matte black, they do it for half that. Had you like 90s Missy in a fucking trash bag. I'm from Philly, we don't do bank accounts, just cash app. I spit a verse and I just watch the time slow. This that guy flow, this that shit that rappers die for. This that uncut Taha Wall straight from Pablo Escobar. I be at the bar like Moscato. They think it's effort, but no, this that block work. Make the countermeasures, take pleasures, making an op hurt. Light is in the sky, cause every verse is a concert. My mind work at speed y'all can't fathom. Listen to the words of a champion. It can't. The streets need another anthem. I just hope this shit go right. Living in the dark, you don't know light. Gotta got my heart with my bow tie.
I ain't have to die to meet the devil. Angels fell and landed in the ghetto. The earth was given to the hands of devils. Then we seen the rise of the devil. We fell for the lies of the devil. When we got high was the devil. I looked into the eyes of the devil. I ain't have to die to meet the devil.
I remember I was only 13 when I met the demon. Gave me a deuce and a bundle of cocaine. Told me to sell to my people, make sure you keep them fiending. If any try to shoot you, make sure that you leave him leaking. He said,
I'ma hold you down when problems pop up.
how you got me moving this dope? Want me in lockup? He said,
Don't you want the Benz vertible with the top cup?
Yeah.
Stop bitching, get in that kitchen, let it rock up. Bitches love the dope boy, especially when it's guap up. I know you know Ron.
who the plug from by the block up?
I'll tell you a little secret, make sure that you keep your mouth shut. Ron got a Lexus, crib in Philly and Texas. Trips to the Bahamas, just got a whip for his mama. He fucking up them commas, be honest, he seeing decent though.
I hear you, but I just seen Ron about a week ago. In fact, he ain't looking too good. His knees is kinda slow. I asked him why the struggle. He got stuck up for his bundle, but them 6 hollow tips in his legs what made him crumble.
He got a house and mama is living good.
Said the feds took it all. He right back in the hood. I see you try to play me. You gave us crack in the 80s. Made us abort our babies and making hoes out our ladies. I know you got me gravy, but Satan, you must be crazy. It's gonna take more than them cars one to amaze me. I seen niggas shoot for the stars, but being lazy. Never get their head at the clouds, so you don't faze me.
I guarantee that you gon' regret it. Remember I said it.
Nah, you could dead it.
What you saying? I can't win?
Nah, devil, nice try. So until we meet again,
I ain't have to die to meet the devil. Angels fell and landed in the ghetto. The earth was given to the hands of devils. Then we seen the rise of the devil. We fell for the lies of the devil. When we got high was the devil. I looked into the eyes of the devil. I ain't have to die to meet the devil. I ain't religious or superstitious, but we been getting fucked and put to the side like a mistress. Police patrolling why? Because prison became a business. They murder one of ours and they start talking about forgiveness. We think that it's alright because we got public assistance. If this ain't hell, dog, what is this? Where was all lives mattered when they killed Osama? There was no peace talk like the Dalai Lama. Bush dropping bombs saying he gon' bring the drama. They got justice, man, they even caught the Boston bomber. But when we riot, they send the military in armor. When we fight oppression, then our people die a martyr. You reap what you sow, some people call it karma. When Christ return, y'all gon' get this harvest like a farmer. Don't tell me don't bring up the past no more. They still trying to settle the score with a side of Shakur. I changed my life and I'm just trying to live life right. But at night I look behind me and see flashing lights, patting me down. You got nothing that's poking me right. I don't smoke or push pills, I gave up my vice. So Mr. Officer, why you wanna take my life? And your honor, why you gave a homeboy's life? I've been wondering why you shot a homeboy twice. Pussy with a gun screaming out that he got a knife. He came from Habibi's spot, it was chicken and rice. Shit's trife, I'm just giving visuals like Skype. Ask Trayvon, Mike Brown, a Kai Gurley, Eric Garner, Sean Bell, Philando, Alden Sterling, Jaquan McDonald. The white man is so devilish. Ask Hammurabi, he'll tell you who the devil is. The white man is so devilish. Ask Hammurabi, he'll tell you who the devil is. I ain't have to die to meet the devil. Angels fell and landed in the ghetto. The earth was given to the hands of devils. Then we seen the rise of the devil. We fell for the lies of the devil. When we got high was the devil. I looked into the eyes of the devil. I ain't have to die to meet the devil. I ain't have to die to meet the devil. Angels fell and landed in the ghetto. The earth was given to the hands of devils. Then we seen the rise of the devil. I pray for the demise of the devil. Lord knows I despise every devil. I looked into the eyes of the devil and said, I pray you die, every devil.
Hey, Shalom Israel, Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shah, Barakatham, Yahweh Shamal Thumb, Bashem, Yahweh Shah. This is ISUPK, started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commander General Yohana. And since 1969, we've been teaching the truth concerning the Bible. And that truth being that so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are descended from the greatest people to ever walk the face of this earth. You tuned in with ISUPK Kentucky. And this is our Sunday, which you didn't learn in history class. Now, tonight, we finna get into what you didn't learn in history class, 4th of July edition. And we finna do breakdowns on people you heard of in history class, but you ain't learned this in history class. So the first person we getting into is Crispus Attucks. This is him on the screen right here. Now, you heard Crispus Attucks. You heard of Crispus Attucks in your history class, and we've all heard that he was one of the first people to die in the American Revolution. Now, he actually died in the Boston Massacre, but let history tell it, he was the first person to die in the Boston Massacre. All right? Well, let's get into it. Let's get into it. All right, you didn't hear this about Crispus Attucks in your history class. Now, this is page 531. The American Historical Record, Notes and Queries, and this is from 1872. This is your source. All right, American Historical Record. All right, who was Crispus Attucks? Who was Crispus Attucks? Let's get into him. It says in Boston on the 5th of March, 1770, a party of men, mostly sailors, marched from the dock square to State Street and assaulted the guard at Custom House. This mob was led by a man almost giant in stature. Now, we know what the Bible says about giants. It's not talking about an actual giant. It's talking about somebody who's large. You understand? It's talking about somebody who's a giant in his own right. So the Bible says, so the source says a giant in stature. In a phrase, several of the sailors were killed. Among the killed was the gigantic leader, Crispus Attucks. This has generally been considered as the scene of the first bloodshed in the American Revolution. All right, let's get into him. Who was Crispus Attucks? By the testimony of witnesses given at the trial, November 1770, he is called the mulatto. Now, we're going to talk about in a little while what the term mulatto actually meant. All right, I believe grave doubts can be thrown on this assumption, and that the weight of carefully examined testimony will prove that he was a Massachusetts Indian. All right, here's your source. American Historical Record, page 531, and it says that weight of carefully examined testimony will prove that he was a Massachusetts Indian. So we've been told in the Pan-African community, in the Afrocentric community, that the first person to die in the American Revolution was a person of so-called African descent. Here's your source. It says he was a Massachusetts Indian. The first man that died in the American Revolution was a North American Indian. All right, and that the first life lost in our struggle, and our great revolutionary struggle, was that of one of the ancient possessors of the soil, of the race which produced a Philip of Mount Hope. Now, here's Philip of Mount Hope right here. His brother right here on the left. This is Philip of Mount Hope, Massachusetts Indian. Like I said, we've been told by the Afrocentric community for years that Crispus Attucks was a person of African descent, but according to the American Historical Record, Crispus Attucks was a North American Indian. Let's go. All right, Native Indians called mulatto. Now, I told you that depending on what year, what decade, and what part of the country you were from, North American Indians were called mulatto. Here it is right here. Certain Native American tribes of the Encalopo family in Texas referred to themselves as mulatto. Here's the source, mulatto Indians. Look it up. All right, North American Indians were one of the first people called mulatto in the Americas. All right, let's go. This is a history of Framingham. This is where Crispus Attucks was from, 1640 to 1880, genealogical register. Now we're going to get into one of the ancestors of Crispus Attucks. All right, Indian occupation warrant. The brother was arrested. It says you are to take notice that the council have condemned and sentenced Captain Tom, Indian, and John Attucks, Indian, enemies to be hanged on this day after the lecture till they be dead, which you are to cause and see the executioner perform his office and execute them accordingly. So Crispus Attucks, not only was he called a North American Indian, it says right here, his ancestor on his father's side was a North American Indian. All right, let's go further. Here's your source: from forgotten founder to indispensable icon, Crispus Attucks, Black Citizenship and Collective Memory, 1770 to 1865. All right, it says Attucks, of course, lived and died as subject of the British Empire. Despite many biographical treatments and extensive historical investigation, little is known about the certainty of his life. Attucks' brief appearance in the historical record has stimulated both professional and amateur historians for digs and details. Some evidence that has been uncovered, but most is circumstantial, even much is speculation, that the most widely accepted construction of Attucks' life suggests that he was born around 1723 in the town of Natick, a multi-tribal praying town of Christianized Indians near Framingham, about 20 miles west of Boston. Crispus Attucks was a North American Indian. It's undisputed, right? I don't care what the Pan-African community has told you. I don't care what the Afrocentric community has told you. I just brought you 3 or 4 sources that show Crispus Attucks was a North American Indian. Let's walk. All right, source: Africans and Native Americans. Similarly, Crispus Attucks, who died in the Boston Massacre, was of Native American extraction but called a mulatto. He is usually described as mulatto, but it seems probably that he was of Native Indian from Framingham. Again, source: Africans and Native Americans. All right, let's get busy. All right, Massachusetts Indian. This is King Philip. We've got 2 more Massachusetts Indians right here on the right. All right, Paul Cuffey. Now, Paul Cuffey is another interesting character. Paul Cuffey was the brother that worked with the white boy that started the American Colonization Society. But Paul Cuffey, a descendant of an Indian family, right here, descendant of an Indian family, was formerly resided in the eastern part of Connecticut and constituted a part of that fierce and warlike tribe of Indians called Pequots. Paul Cuffey was a Pequot Indian, but Paul Cuffey worked with the American Colonization Society to send black people to Africa. You got to make that make sense to me. All right, Paul Cuffey, known for his work in assisting free blacks who wanted to immigrate to Sierra Leone. Paul Cuffey, 1759 to 1817, Pequot Indian, but worked with the American Colonization Society to send black people to Africa. All right, Americans and Native Americans. Paul Cuffey referred to himself and his relations in petitions as our color and Indian men. Paul Cuffey was a North American Indian. Now, like I said, he worked with the American Colonization Society. It says right here, January 15, 1817, James Ford and Richard Allen and Absalom Jones called a meeting to discuss the American Colonization Society. Again, the American Colonization Society was an organization designed to send free black people to Africa. All right, it says in a meeting to discuss the American Colonization Society in front of a 3,000-member church, it was in Mother Bethel Church, 3,000-member congregation, to promote moving to Africa. Not one member of the church wanted to go. I wonder why. Captain Paul Cuffey's Logs and Letters, 1808 to 1817. And this was the devil right here. This was the white boy right here that Paul Cuffey was working with. Robert Finley founded the American Colonization Society to send free blacks to Liberia. American Colonization Society was established to address the prevailing view that free people of color could not integrate into U.S. society. Now, I talked about last week in my last episode that the definition of free people of color means North American Indian. All right, could not integrate into U.S. society. Their population had grown steadily following the Revolutionary War. We finna get into it. White Americans believe that blacks were inherently inferior and therefore should be relocated. Source: American Colonization Society, 200 years of the colonizing trip. The colonizer trick is that Paul Cuffey was a North American Indian. He was working with the white boy to send free people of color and other black people to Africa. Again, make that make sense. All right, let's get into it. Fireworks. All right, fireworks. We all heard in our history class coming up in school that fireworks was to represent the so-called bombs bursting in the air. We finna put that out of bed real quick. Tuscarora Indians are fireworks. Here's an image of Chief Peters, Tuscarora Indian. All right, here's a source, Sanders 1886 to 1890, Colonial Records of North Carolina. It reads, as the tomb was covered, I noticed something which passes imagination. This is something that these Europeans ain't never seen before. It says, passes the imagination, which I should not believe had I not seen it with my own eyes. From the tomb arose a little flame of fire, like a big candlelight, which went straight into the air and noisily went straight over the cabin of the deceased window and thence further across the big swamp above 1 mile until it finally vanished from sight in the woods. It's talking about fireworks. At that sight, I have way, to my surprise, asked what it meant, but the Indians laughed at me. As if I ought to have known that this was no rarity among them. North American Indians invented fireworks. These white people at this time had never seen a firework before. This is 1886 to 1890 Colonial Records of North Carolina. Again, we've been taught that the fireworks are supposed to represent the bombs bursting in the air from the Star-Spangled Banner. Truth of the matter is, North American Indians invented fireworks. Here's your source. Again, Sanders, 1886 to 1890, Colonial Records of North Carolina. Let's keep going. Revolutionary War. All right, Proclamation Line of 1763, issued by George III. George III was the King of Great Britain. It forbade settlers from settling west of the Appalachian in an effort to limit conflict between British settlers and Indians who supported the British. Now, you also never learned in your history class there's a group of North American Indians called Loyalists who sided with the British. Now, the reason they sided with the British is because they was into it ever since the settlers got here. So again, Proclamation Line 1763, issued by George III, forbade settlers from settling west of the Appalachians in an effort to limit conflict between settlers and Indians who supported the British. Source, keeping promises, the Royal Proclamation of 1763, Aboriginal rights. And again, King George III of Great Britain, here he is right here, King George III. Again, we learned in our history class coming up in school that King George III was a so-called white man. Here's an image of him. Here's an image of him on the money. And then the source, Memoirs of George III, it says his face was of a deep copper color, which is why they put him on the penny. All right, George III. Proclamation Line 1763, issued by George III. This was an effort, like I said, to stop the settlers from encroaching on native Indian lands. Now, the native Indians had an ally named John Stewart. John Stewart was a superintendent from the Southern District of the British Indian Department, 1761 to 1779. Now, there's a book called Jacobite Gleanings. It talks about what happened after the Jacobites were kicked out of Europe. Now, the Jacobites led a rebellion to put James Francis Edward Stuart on the throne of England and get rid of George I. Now, they lost their rebellion, and about 200 Jacobites were rounded up, put on ships, and sent to the Americas. One of them, his name was John Stewart. John Stewart was related to King James. All right, again, he was superintendent of the British Indian Department from 1761 to 1779. And if you look, he is number 52 on the actual ship log. All right, and it said he was brown, well-made, and swarthy. All right, the word swarthy means black. I'll show you in a minute. But the so-called ally with the North American Indians, the one that was supposed to hold the line to keep the settlers back, was a black descendant of King James. Let's go. When the American Revolution broke out, the settlers in Cherokee County decided that the British law no longer applied. In May of 1776, a coalition of northern tribes called the Loyalists allied with the British. All right, here's the image of the Loyalists. Here's one of your earliest depictions of a lynching in North America. And it was North American Indians lynching so-called white people. Again, because we had an ally in John Stewart, but when the war broke out, the so-called white colonists crossed that line, and that's when all hell broke loose. All right, here's an image of one of the earliest images of a lynching in North America, and these were the North American Indians who were loyal to the British. All right, the Chickamauga Wars was a series of battles, ambushes, and massacres staged by the white Scottish Irish militias and settlers against the Indians who were under Chief Dragon Canoe in Kentucky, the Carolinas, Tennessee, and Georgia during and after the Revolutionary War. So Chickamauga Wars was some of the first battles in the American Revolution. It was between the white settlers and the Chickamauga Indians. All right, here's Chief Dragon Canoe. All right, Chickamauga chief known as the Savage Napoleon to the white settlers. Chickamauga Indians, and this is one of the earliest images of the Chickamauga flag. This goes all the way back to 3 years prior to the Civil War. Does the flag look familiar? I keep trying to tell people that our so-called oppressor, the so-called white man, hasn't invented a goddamn thing. That so-called rebel flag, what we call the Confederate flag today, was actually a flag of the Chickamauga Indians, and it's on record 3 years prior to the Civil War breaking out. All right, let's walk. All right, Andrew Williamson served in the South Carolina militia. He led numerous campaigns against the Loyalists. He attacked Indian lands across Tennessee and the Carolinas. As a result of the Indian campaign, the Cherokees ceded more than 1 million acres in the Carolinas. Source: Demand of Blood, Cherokee War, 1776. All right. Here's your next source. All right, Washington and his generals. Legends of the Revolution by Reverend Chauncey Burr. Here's your next source, Philadelphia. This is page 196. This is about Benedict Arnold. We've all heard about Benedict Arnold in our history class in school. All right, it says he wandered from place to place with an even and steady gait, neither looking to one side or the other, scarcely even speaking to anyone, either in courtesy or in anger, but preserving a settled, calm look of manner. We'll skip down. They tell me that his features were swarthy and battle-worn, lost every trace of vivacity. They were rigidly fixed, his lips compressed, his brow calm and unfrowning, wore an expression that no one could read, while his eyes had the wildness of their gleam, fire in their glance, that told somewhat of the supernatural struggle at work within him, the battle between Arnold's revenge and Arnold's pride. At this time, he brings to mind the Hebrew giant Samson. So not only in the source, Washington and his generals, Legends of the Revolution, page 196 calls Benedict Arnold swarthy. Now, I told you earlier that the word swarthy means black, and I'll show you in a minute. So not only do they call Benedict Arnold black, but they compare him to the Hebrew giant Samson. Let's go. Swarthy, adjective. Dark color, especially of skin, underplaying alteration of swarthy from the 1570s. Look, swarthy is another word that means black. All right, so what this source is doing is calling Benedict Arnold a black man. And I had to dig for this image here. This is an old image of Benedict Arnold. This is an old image of Benedict Arnold. All right, Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson. During the American Revolutionary War, Thomas Jefferson served in the Virginia legislature, the Continental Congress, and was the governor of Virginia. Now, we've all heard about Thomas Jefferson. A lot of us heard in history class in school that Thomas Jefferson had children by a female slave named Sally Hemings. I heard the sentence aloud today, but I got something you might not have heard before. All right, Jefferson, here's your source by Albert J. Knott. And this is a quote. This is a quote from John Adams. This might be hard to see, but this is a quote from John Adams. It says, the profound and fearless patriot and full-blooded Yankee who exceeded in every possible respect his competitor, Thomas Jefferson, for the presidency, who to make the best of him was nothing but a mean-spirited, long-lived fellow, the son of a half-breed Indian squaw and fathered by a Virginia mulatto father. I'll read it again. Thomas Jefferson for the presidency, who to make the best of him was nothing but a mean-spirited, low-lived fellow, the son of a half-breed Indian squaw and sired by a Virginia mulatto father. I bet you never heard that in history class. Let's get it. All right, the Constitution. Constitution of the United States. And when I say this so-called white man that stole everything, I mean this so-called white man that stole everything. The Constitution. Iroquois Great Law of Peace, the Iroquois Confederacy, founded by the great peacemaker in 1142, is the oldest living democracy on earth. Source, Encyclopedia Britannica. The Iroquois Confederacy is the oldest living democracy on earth. Encyclopedia Britannica. All right, in 1988, the U.S. Senate paid tribute with the resolution and said the confederation of the original 13 colonies in the one republic was influenced by the political system developed by the Iroquois Confederacy, as were many of the democratic principles which were incorporated into the Constitution itself.
If I may, you said Iroquois?
Iroquois Confederacy.
The same like the Indian name, Iroquois?
Source, Select Committee on Indian Affairs. Again, the Constitution, they say adopted or influenced. I'm going to go ahead and say stolen. But the Constitution was taken from the Iroquois Confederation. It was called the Great Law of Peace. All right, here's the images of Iroquois Indians. All right, the Iroquois Confederacy originally consisted of 5 separate nations: the Mohawk, the Oneida, the Cayuga, the Seneca, and the Tuscarora Nation migrated into the Iroquois County 1722. All right, the U.S. Constitution owes its notion of democracy from the Iroquois tribes, including freedom of religion, freedom of speech, and the separation of powers in government. Source, 2014 PolitiFact article. It says right here that the whole idea of freedom of religion, freedom of speech, and separation of powers comes from the Iroquois Indian Constitution. All right. Next source, Iroquois League, the Articles of Confederation, and the Constitution. Samuel B. Payne Jr. In contradiction to mainstream is the revisionist school that gives much of the credit to American Indians. The revisionists believe that the Iroquois Indians, the forgotten founders, as Bruce E. Johansson terms them, significantly influenced joining together of the 13 colonies in 1776, the writing of the Articles of Confederation, and the construction of a federal system of government in 1787. Although the Iroquois influence thesis lacks the pervasive power of the mainstream, European influence thesis it has been widely propagated that, and for that reason alone deserves serious critical examination. So it's talking about you have certain groups of people that want to deny the fact that the North American Indian had this constitution first, but I just gave y'all 2-3 sources prior that prove that the Iroquois Indians, again, not only have the oldest democracy on earth, but again, not only have the oldest democracy on earth, but the idea of freedom of religion, freedom of speech, and separation of powers in the government all come from the Iroquois Confederation. All right, barbecue. We talked about this in class of the day, so I ain't finna get into it too much. But this is the oldest image of a barbecue on the planet. All right. Native Americans cooking fish and an engraving from a brief and true report from the Newfoundland of Virginia by Thomas Harriot, 1590. This image is from 1590. Shows North American Indians barbecuing fish on the grill. It's right here in front of you. All right. Barbecue originated with the native peoples in the Americas. The author noted that the Indians of Chesapeake Bay used to barbecue and smoke fish. Here's the source description of New Albion, 1648. All right, I had to do this one.
No, it's not actually. I just looked at the map. It says the map.
It's a charcoal grill in the park here.
No, it's not actually. I just looked at the map. It says this is a designated barbecue area.
No, not for a charcoal grill. No charcoal grills are allowed. You must not have looked up.
What kind of grill are you not allowed, and why are you so bent out of shape over them being
because
here?
it causes extra money from our city to do things when children get injured because of improperly disposed of food.
So are you saying that they're going to hurt children?
Salaki had to do it. It went with the topic. North American Indians invent barbecue. Y'all remember this Karen that got famous a couple of years back for trying to call the police on people that's out there barbecuing, talking about charcoal grills is illegal in this park. All right. And we'll go ahead and end with a scripture, if I may. Genesis 49:19 reads, Gad, a troop will overcome him, but he shall overcome in the last. Now we know in ISUPK and the Commander General Yohana that the biblical tribe of Gad is the North American Indian. The troop that overcame him, was the settlers and the armies of the Americas. But it says, but he shall overcome in the last. All right, the white man, Salaki, the so-called white man knows that he has but a short time. He knows that he has to pay for everything that he's done to the Lord's chosen people. That's why the Bible says that he shall overcome in the last. So with that, we'll go ahead and end it. Shalom, Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Slaki. Shalom, Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shah Barakatham. Yahweh Shemalatham B'Shem Yahweh Shah. Class dismissed.